The stage lights were blazing as 80,000 people screamed for "Beat It." But no one expected Michael Jackson to drop his microphone and stop singing mid-song. In 1987, at London's Wembley Stadium, the King of Pop took the biggest risk of his career. Just 47 seconds. That's all the time it took for his decision to change the music industry forever. But the most shocking part hadn't even started yet. Michael Jackson stood backstage. Outside, Wembley's massive crowd was waiting for the Bad Tour finale. But Michael's mind was somewhere else entirely. In his hand was a letter from 9-year-old Emma Richardson. "Dear Michael, I'm Emma. The doctors told me I only have 3 months left. I lost my hair because of leukemia, but your songs make me feel strong. I wish I could see you just once." Michael's assistant, Tony Romano, came running. "Michael, it's time to go on stage. Frank DeLeo is waiting for you." Frank DeLeo, Michael's manager, was the harsh face of the business. Money, ratings, contracts, nothing else mattered to him. "Michael, 200 million people are watching this live broadcast tonight. We can't make any mistakes." But Michael's eyes remained fixed on that letter. Emma Richardson, 9 years old, 3 months. That's when everything changed. A nurse entered through the door. She held a small photograph in her hand. "Mr. Michael," the nurse said breathlessly, "Emma is here. She escaped from the hospital. Her mother, Margaret, couldn't stop her. She's waiting at the security gate right now, but—" The nurse hesitated. She handed Michael the photograph. The image was heartbreaking. A little girl sitting in a wheelchair, wearing a colorful hat, with hope shining in her eyes. Emma Richardson's situation was becoming clear. Frank DeLeo interrupted. "Michael, this isn't the time. Security will handle it. You need to get on stage now." Michael stared at the photograph. This little girl, fighting death, had escaped from the hospital with the dream of seeing Michael Jackson. Her only wish was to see Michael just once. "Frank," Michael said quietly, "delay the concert by 10 minutes. "What? 80,000 people are waiting. There's a live broadcast, sponsor agreements." 10 minutes, Michael repeated. "You haven't seen the biggest surprise yet." Michael Jackson ran to the security gate. There, Margaret Richardson was hugging her daughter Emma, crying. "Emma, please. The doctors are looking for you. We need to go back." Emma, sitting in her wheelchair, saw Michael. Her eyes widened, her breath caught. "Michael Jackson," she whispered. Michael knelt down. He got to Emma's level. "Hello, Emma. I got your letter." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Is it really you?" "It's really me. And you're a very brave girl." Margaret Richardson looked at Michael through her tears. "Mr. Jackson, I'm sorry. She's been so sick. And your music. It's the only thing that makes her smile anymore." Michael took Emma's small hand. "Emma, would you like to see the concert from somewhere special?" Emma nodded, unable to speak. "Wait, don't miss this detail." Michael made a decision that would shock everyone. "Tony, cancel the opening. Emma is watching the concert from the side of the stage." Frank DeLeo exploded. "Are you insane? You can't bring a sick child on stage. The insurance, the liability, the—" "She's not going on the stage," Michael interrupted. "She's watching from the side. There's a difference." But Michael had something else in mind, something that would make this night legendary. As the concert began, 80,000 people roared. Michael performed "Wanna Be Startin' Something," then "Human Nature." But during the third song, something unprecedented happened. Michael Jackson felt completely alone, despite being surrounded by thousands of fans. This little girl, fighting for her life, had reminded him why he really made music. Not for the money, not for the fame, but for moments like this. During Beat It, Michael saw Emma on the side of the stage. She was trying to stand up from her wheelchair, moving to the rhythm despite her weakness. That's when Michael Jackson made the most courageous decision of his career. Now you'll see something incredible. Michael stopped singing mid-verse. The band kept playing for a few more seconds before trailing off into silence. 80,000 people fell quiet. The live broadcast continued rolling. Michael walked to the side of the stage where Emma was sitting. "Ladies and gentlemen," Michael said into the microphone, his voice echoing through Wembley. "Tonight, I want to introduce you to someone very special. Her name is Emma Richardson. She's 9 years old, and she's the bravest person I've ever met." The crowd murmured, confused but captivated. Michael knelt beside Emma's wheelchair. "Emma, would you like to sing a song with me?" Emma's face lit up in a way that medical science couldn't explain. For the first time in months, she looked truly alive. You won't believe this, but Frank DeLeo was backstage. A furious, "This wasn't in the script. This wasn't professional. This could ruin everything." But something magical was happening on stage. Michael helped Emma stand, supporting her weight. Together, they began singing "Man in the Mirror." Emma's voice was weak, barely audible even with the microphone. But Michael adjusted his voice to match her fragility, creating a harmony that was hauntingly beautiful. The 80,000 people in the audience were witnessing something sacred. This wasn't a performance anymore. This was a moment of pure human connection. As they sang together, something changed in Emma. The pain in her face softened. Her voice grew slightly stronger. For 4 minutes and 30 seconds, she wasn't a dying child. She was a singer on the world's biggest stage. When the song ended, Emma collapsed into Michael's arms. He caught her, holding her gently, and the entire stadium erupted in the longest standing ovation in Wembley's history. Michael whispered something in Emma's ear that only she could hear. Years later, Emma would reveal his words. "You're not going to die, Emma. Music will keep you alive. I promise." Michael helped Emma back to her wheelchair, but not before giving her his iconic sequined glove. "This is for you," he said. "Keep it. Remember tonight. Remember that love is stronger than anything trying to hurt you." Margaret and Emma left Wembley that night in a dream-like state. Emma clutched Michael's glove like a lifeline, her face streaked with tears of joy. When they returned to the hospital at midnight, Dr. Harrison was waiting, expecting the worst. But when he saw Emma's face, radiant despite the exhaustion, he couldn't speak. 3 days later, on November 24th, something happened that Dr. Harrison described as medically impossible. Emma's white blood cell count began to drop. Her cancer markers started declining. The leukemia cells that had been multiplying uncontrollably suddenly slowed, retreated, disappeared. Dr. Harrison ran the tests 3 times, certain there was an error, but the results were consistent. Emma Richardson, who was supposed to be dead, was getting better in a way that contradicted all medical predictions. He brought in specialists from across London. They examined Emma, studied her records, ran more tests. None of them could explain it. "What happened at that concert?" Dr. Harrison finally asked Margaret. She told him everything. The performance, Emma singing on stage, Michael's promise. Dr. Harrison listened in silence. He was a man of science, trained to rely on data, not miracles and music. But he'd been a doctor long enough to know that sometimes the human body did things that science couldn't explain. Sometimes hope was medicine. Sometimes joy was treatment. Sometimes love was the cure. Emma Richardson didn't die in 3 months. She didn't die in 3 years. Against all predictions, Emma lived. She continued chemotherapy, but something fundamental had changed. The relentless cancer was retreating. In March 1988, 4 months after the concert, Emma was in complete remission. She lived another 35 years. She married, had 2 children, became a music teacher, sharing the power of song with young people. She kept Michael's sequined glove in her bedroom, and every year on November 21st, she would hold it against her heart and remember the night she was supposed to die, but chose to live instead. Even after HBO's Leaving Neverland documentary, Emma's story continued to inspire. Michael Jackson's legacy remained complicated, but for Emma Richardson, it was simple. He had saved her life. In 2019, exactly 32 years after that concert, Emma wrote a letter to Michael Jackson's estate. She was now healthy and full of life. Dear Michael's family, on November 21st, 1987, you gave me more than a song. You gave me a reason to live. You showed me that music isn't just sound. It's medicine for the soul. That night, you didn't just save my life. You taught me that compassion and art can heal what medicine cannot touch. I lived 35 beautiful years because of what you did. Thank you for seeing me. I thank you for stopping your concert. Thank you for reminding me that I mattered. The letter was found among Michael's personal effects after his death in 2009. It had been read so many times that the paper had become soft and worn. When Michael died on June 25, 2009, over 1 million people lined the streets for his memorial service. Among them was Emma Richardson, now 41 years old, wearing Michael's sequined glove and holding a sign, "You saved my life in 1987. Thank you for everything." The 47-second decision Michael made that night came with a heavy price. Frank DeLeo never forgave him for unprofessional behavior. Several corporate sponsors complained about the unscheduled deviation. But what happened that night at Wembley spread through the music world like wildfire. By the next morning, everyone in the entertainment business knew about it. Michael Jackson had stopped his own concert for a dying child. And not only had he survived the risk, he'd created something legendary. The incident changed something fundamental about how artists viewed their relationship with fans. Before that night, concerts were considered products, carefully scripted and controlled. But Michael had shown that a performer with enough courage and heart could create moments that transcended entertainment. The story of Michael Jackson and Emma Richardson reminds us that sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is stop what we're doing and pay attention to what really matters. Michael could have ignored the desperate plea from Emma's mother. He could have asked security to remove them and continued his performance. And he had 80,000 other fans to think about. But he chose compassion over convenience. He chose humanity over the show. He chose to see a dying girl in a crowd of thousands and offer her a moment that would literally save her life. Emma lived 35 more years because of 4 minutes and 30 seconds of music. Because a 29-year-old superstar decided that one person's dream was worth more than the perfect execution of his concert. Because sometimes miracles happen when we let love and art work together to heal what is broken. Today, a small plaque backstage at Wembley Stadium commemorates that night in November 1987. It reads, "Here, music became medicine. Here, compassion created a miracle. Here, Michael Jackson showed us what it truly means to be human." If you were in that situation, what would you have done in those 47 seconds?